It's Rodale in the ATL. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Rodale. So glad to have you along on another edition of Real Talk. Of course, as we try to do is bring you some wonderful people to the show every time we come together. And thank you for joining us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, the Rodale Lewis Show on YouTube, as well as a taste of tradition.com. My special guest this evening, oh my goodness, she's a mogul. Yes, she is. She may not want to admit to it, but she is. Neily Dickerson, everybody, has over 2 decades of professional experience in the music industry, 13 of which having been specifically focused on faith based marketing and promotions. Dickerson says she's no novice in her field. I don't know about that now. Having worked at a variety of record labels and gaining experience in a multitude of areas and departments, she's challenged herself to learn all aspects of the music industry. And yeah, she got a knack, man, for creating, a passion for learning, and a heart to inspire. Dickerson has positioned herself as one of the industry's innovators. And let's start right there. Welcome to the show, by the way. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Rodell. It's hot.
Look, I understand you in LA and I'm in ATL, and listen,
It's hotter.
it's
Hotter
90
where you are.
it's 90 degrees here, so I don't know what it is there.
It's not that hot, but it's me. So go ahead.
But yeah, let's start with the part of you being a innovator. How first of all, how did you get in this industry, Neely? Take us back as to how this all started for you.
Well, Rodell, I was a young black child in Los Angeles, California, who graduated from high school and told my mother, "I'm not going to college." She said, "Well, you're gonna get a job." I was like, "Ugh." So one of her very dear friends worked at A&M Records, which was a label for Janet Jackson, Sting, and a whole bunch of other artists in the Police. And so she hired me to work in accounting. And I did. I worked in accounting. My first job, I was 18. I was the youngest employee they had. So,
Mm.
and then from there, I started seeing stuff and finding things that were like a niche. So when I worked at A&M, it's sort of like a little college because I got to work in every department for like 4 months, 5 months. So it was like going a semester in sales, a semester in accounting and publishing, a semester in marketing, a semester in all these different departments. And then I said, oh, wait a minute, let me go to school and figure out how we can work this out. So while I was in school, I even interned at LaFace with a friend of mine, and I just continued to grow. And then when I came back from Howard, I didn't have a job, and my mother again knew Vicky Mack, and Vicky Mack was working at Sparrow at that time, and she randomly called my mother and said, "Do you know anybody who has a little bit of sense and has a little bit of industry background?" And that was me, and that's how I got into the gospel side because I worked on mainstream, like before I started working at Sparrow.
Yeah, to start though, I mean, you work with some majors, man. You work with, as you said, LaFace Records, and a host of others. Um, so comparing one against the other, where did you learn the most on how to really navigate this industry like you do now?
Wow, wow. I don't want to pit one against the other. I was given opportunities to do different things in other places. So on the mainstream side, the thing that I learned was the way they had a leadership skill and the way, like working at A&M was like the best place you could work. It was like literally a family. We had like a base softball team. We had a volleyball team. The presidents of the label used to like, if it was lunch for like a meeting and they had a lot left over, they would call everybody, "Hey, we got lunch, come get it." That's when the industry was lucrative and making a lot of money. Like if they bought tickets for a concert and they didn't get rid of all the tickets at 3 o'clock, they'd be like, "If you want tickets, just fill out your name, fill out the slip, and you can come get these tickets." Like it was stuff like that where you got to learn how to share and to be familiar. And I think that that's something that's very important for even like when I would call you or different people about radio singles and stuff like that. You'd be like, it's not that I just want you to play my song, Wendell. How are you doing? How's your family? How's things going? You know what I mean? So you start developing relationships. So I learned that process there, and I think it just snowballed as I got to as I got to Sparrow first, and then when Vicky asked me to come back. and work at Gospel Centric, you just like grow into the opportunity that you've given, and you get some of it from home. You know what I mean? You get some of your abilities from home, and then hopefully you learn something at a school. But yeah,
So, did I read somewhere where you actually went to Howard University?
I went to HU, the
Tell us
real.
about the experience.
Oh my God, going to Howard let me know that we run the world. Like seriously. Um it's nothing like it. It's a blessing and a curse. We're the best at everything, and sometimes we can be the worst. Administratively, I used to get so mad just trying to be online and get stuff done. You'd be like, I mean, not online, literally online on a computer, in line, like waiting for stuff. And so that part would be frustrating. But the way the teachers would challenge you, I remember when I was in college, I'm about to date myself, there was a sit in that we did. It wasn't like a protest like they're doing now, but it was a protest, but we called it a sit in.
Mhm.
And I went to my class, my communications class, and my doctor's name was Dr. Ron. Oh my God, what's his last name? Well, we call him Dr. Ron. But he was like, "Why y'all in class?" And we were like, "Because we're supposed to be." He's like, "Nope, go to the A building and sit in." And we were like, "What?" He was like, "Go to the A building because it's gonna be an assignment when it's over." I mean, so they would challenge us to do stuff and all kind of stuff. So it was like an experience to push you to be your best
Mm.
and not to be
Yeah.
afraid or not to be afraid when people tell you that you're not. And I think it's different from a HBCU than it is from a regular institution.
Mm. Because I mean, you played a key role in a lot of artists' lives, a lot of different genres of the music, the roster varying from artists, movies, soundtracks, hit television series, even the series of Sunday's Best seasons 2 through 9. You managed artists. How did you navigate as to what you want to do at what given time?
I think for me, when it came to certain things, I just never wanted to have imposter syndrome and feel like I couldn't bring something to the table.
Mhm.
So when I would be in places or I would be working with somebody, my first assignment is to know what is it you're trying to accomplish. And if I know what you're trying to accomplish and I believe I can help you, I'm gonna say, "Oh, okay, I can do that." If I don't, I'm honestly gonna say, "You know what? Let me refer you to." Or why don't you go and pursue this and then we can come back? Because if I can't do it, I don't want to just say, "Oh, I'm gonna charge you for doing something." I've never thought that that was something like, or I'll tell you initially, let's learn together, because I may not know that part of this thing, but I know this part of it. So let's grow in that area together. So I think that I've always tried to just be fair and honest. I may have made some mistakes along the way, but I'm not perfect. Ooh, go figure that. But I'm good.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out the balance, and it's okay to say that you're good, and when you're not, you're not. I mean, we all have our days, like So it's just because I have a day when I didn't do everything great doesn't mean I'm not good. I think once you stop learning, you might as well like, what are we here for?
Mm. When we stop learning, what are we here for? So let me ask you, working for Gospel Centric,
Hmm.
also working in partnership with Donna Lawrence,
Hmm.
and now having your own record label.
Hmm.
Tell me the differences there. Tell me the differences there.
Well, I only worked at Gospel Centric, and me and Donald, the only way I never really partnered with Donald. Donald released a record and asked me to produce some promotions on it. So his Christmas album, when I started the indie company, which is my marketing company, which is, let me just be like funny. People don't really know what that means. The indie company, those are my initials, Neily Dickerson, right?
Right, right.
So it's called the Neily Dickerson Company, and in industry work, like anybody who calls for radio, anybody who's a publicist, we're all independent consultants. So that's what indie means. We're independent consultants, and it's my name. But a lot of people don't get that. But anyway, when I started the indie company, Donald hired me to be one of his a consultant on his Christmas project. He actually called me and asked me to work on the Karen Clark Sheard Finally Karen record, and I was like, I can't do that. I work at Gospel Centric. So when I left Gospel Centric, he called me. He said, I got your first client. so so that was cool. But working for Gospel Centric, really, Vicky was allowed me to put stuff in place for her that needed to keep things going, because literally when she started, it was her and her daddy and maybe every once in a while somebody would come and help. But to evolve it, and she was working with Janelle Coley and Daryl Coley, but to have a right hand person, she didn't have that yet. So the fact that she trusted me to come back and do that with her, and then she hired other people like Monica Bacon and Troy Clark and Gretchen Newell to help was great. But working at Gospel Central, we just got to like be like, "Ooh, let's do this," and we did it. Nobody could tell us, "No, you can't do it," or "We don't do it like that." It was okay. You know what I mean? That's what we were developing. So that was fun to be able to do something like that, because nowhere had I worked where they could where you could say, "Oh, let's try it like this," and they'd be like, "Well, no, this is the system, and this is what we got to go through." Now, when she did have a distribution deal and stuff like that, um, we had to be on a schedule to be able to get a record release. But if we didn't get stuff turned in, I'd be like, "Well, let's just push it." And they would get mad because I would push stuff back all the time. They'd be like, "But we need that Kirk Franklin record." Okay, we're just gonna push it back a week. If y'all really want it, y'all can make this work. So but it would be fun. It was fun. It was fun to be able to learn and to put stuff in place for yourself that worked. Like, I think the greatest part was to be able to see, "Ooh, that worked." I remember when Kirk's Christmas album came out. We pushed it back. We pushed it up because what you're looking for was ready to come out. But Why We Sing, the first album with the family, was still doing well. So it was kind of like, why stop selling it? So one of the guys at Sparrow, the distribution company, said, "Well, why don't you guys do a Christmas album?" So we did the Christmas album, and then that year GMWA was in LA, so we did Christmas in July. And Kirk was like, "You think it's gonna work?" We were going like, we were like, "We'll see." And by the time they sang "Now Behold the Lamb," we like, "Did it work?" He was like, "It worked." So I mean, it was just like we just got to try stuff, and I'm sure other people had done Christmas in July, but it just worked in a different way. So it was just fun to do stuff like that.
So, ironically, we're actually in the month of June where we're celebrating Black Music Month. Um, tell us your journey as to where you are now, and how you cherish this Black Music Month, and the things that you're involved with.
Black Music Month means so much to me because we are the gospel music. Let's just say that is the foundation, I think, of so much. Because, you know, churches where we used to get a lot of our information from, a lot of community was developed out of church, and music was a part of that thread that kept us going. So to have a Black Music Month that celebrates not just gospel, but jazz and hip hop and even country and a little bit of rock, and all of it is a great thing to do and to cherish and to celebrate and honor those who did it, who are doing it with us, who did it before us, who are going on. And so it's just a great tribute to be able to do something and to be a part of something. And so recently we started a site called Gospel Top 40. It's a chart, and we're really excited about that, to see that it's a chart. You are a panelist for us, but it's a chart where we try to just get an opportunity for every genre that's under the gospel umbrella to be represented. So last year we did a tribute to a whole bunch of different people that we thought were, from executives to on-air programmers to artists to producers to everybody, and we celebrated them. And this year we did something similar, but we also did an in memoriam, because during the pandemic, a lot of people passed away, but we didn't really get to go to funerals like we would have. You know what I mean? Like, you say somebody passed away, we'd be like, okay, we're going to try to get there. But we didn't really get to do that during the pandemic because we couldn't fly a lot and people were not sure about how to move. But we also wanted to just make sure we represented those people and we honored the contribution that they made to the industry. And in some instances, they're still making.
Yeah, yeah. Man, we've actually lost some really treasured, or treasures, I should say, of
Hmm.
artists. And but yet and still, how do you feel about the industry at large at this point in the game as far as gospel music? Is it still prevalent?
I think gospel music will always be the most relevant music that we have for several reasons. One, it leads us to God and it leads us to a relationship with Jesus. So I think that that's important, and is our goal as Christians, whether through music or just through sharing the word of God or in the salvation story of Jesus through conversation, but I think music helps us get that out. And I think it is still relevant. I think one of the challenges that we're having in the industry overall, and especially in gospel, is that everybody's in a rush to become a star, and they don't understand that relationship plays a role in that. I use Yolanda Adams as an example about this all the time when she never gets upset. So when you first met Yolanda Adams and Thomas Whitfield introduced, I know it was in My Liberty, right? We heard her sing My Liberty. And then first record I think was produced by either Ben Tankard or Thomas Whitfield. I don't have my history right.
It
But
was good.
Yolanda had,
Good
she
tank.
was
Yeah.
Tankard. So Yolanda had the short little bob with the sweater on and the big earrings. Then she got on the beach. She still had little nappy hair. And then we had a relationship with her. She would do dates and she would start telling us about her life, and we would connect to that relationship. Then another record came out and she was looking like the Queen of Sheba in purple and green, and she had this big braids and all that stuff, still developing a relationship. Then she did a Christmas album. Then she came out on us and just put a Y on the dang album. Like, you better know who I am. I'm Yolanda. And then, she kept coming. So this is a relationship that we're building with her. Same thing with Kirk Franklin, from this album to the with the profile to all the other stuff. So I can use that same example for the Queen, Beyonce. She started with Destiny's Child, 4 people. Then it was another 4. Then it was 3. Then it was she. Right? But
Yeah.
it's relationship. We've seen all of these things happen with her. And I think a lot of times where people get frustrated and where the frustration is people have forsaken relationship. Whether it's from artist to consumer, whether it's from industry executives to artists, and really being able to hear from them. Everybody wants it quick and everybody wants AI. Nobody wants to talk anymore. So that's why all these podcasts make me go, okay, well, people still want to see each other, I guess, but I don't know
Yeah.
if we want to room with each other, because we still have to talk. I mean, if you start getting rid of people, people are gonna be depressed, people are gonna be obese, people are gonna be horrible. And I think that's one of the missing pieces in the industry overall. And I think that if we let that happen in gospel, it's going to be a sad state.
So tell our audience as to how they can actually see this momentum, because I think it's well put together. You guys did an excellent job with it, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was hungry. I made some crackers. But the In Memoriam is on YouTube. If you just go to YouTube and put in Gospel Top 40, um, you'll see it. Or just put In Memoriam, Gospel Top 40 In Memoriam. Those are keywords and it should come up. Thank you for the shout out on that. It's something that we're really proud of. I think the song was perfect,
Excellent song.
by the Hawkins
The
family.
heart. Yeah.
Hawkins, I'm going away.
I'm going away.
It's because and it's funny that it all came together. One day I was talking to Donald Lawrence a couple months ago, and they were playing it on KGLH, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the perfect song for the In Memoriam thing. And me and Donald were happened to be talking, and we were both saying how, although it is a song for a memorial thing, it's not really sad.
I
If you really
know.
think about it, because when it gets to the end, you'll be like, hey, you'll be into it. Wait a minute. But then you think about what you're saying. But that's the dichotomy of what we have in Christ, right? Like, we're gonna die, but it's not gonna really be sad for us because we know where we're going. And although we're gonna miss those who have gone on, we'll see them again, one way or the other. So I think that's the beauty of being able to use that song for our first one. Now, next year we got to come up with another song and it'll be good. But I think this first year we did our best to get everybody that we could. If we missed somebody, please forgive us. We asked a group of people. Some people responded, some people didn't, Rodale. And so we just wanted to see if we could, as many people as we could get from 2020 who passed during the pandemic to now. And hopefully next year, if we did miss somebody, we can include them in our next year one.
No, I actually think you did an excellent job as to covering. There were some people that I didn't even know that had passed.
A few
I
people
was
have
like,
told me. A few
I
people
was
have told
like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't even know this. But
me.
majority of them, yeah, we were aware of. My first one that I can recall when the pandemic came in, as you said, was Keith Wonderboy Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
It was like he was one of the first, kind of. Well, actually, before him, I think it was Troy Sneed.
I
Um,
think Troy Sneed was Troy
yeah,
Sneed was overwhelmingly a shock for all of
yeah,
us, like, oh no.
yeah,
And then it kept going, and then Rance Allen, and
yeah.
then kept going. So it was just a lot. And so I just hope that this tribute is something that people will appreciate, even if the person didn't die because of the pandemic, they died during it. And the pandemic was scary.
Yeah, it was.
It was scary.
It was. Now, I mean, I'm looking at your bio here, and you've worked with some tremendous artists. You mentioned Yolanda Adams, Karen
Hmm.
Clark Beard, Donna Lawrence, The Native Story, Bishop T.D. Jakes, of course. I mentioned about Sunday's best seasons 2 to 9. Might have been more than that. I'm not sure by now. You've also
I think it
managed.
was 10. I think it was 10 seasons of Sunday
Yeah,
Best.
yeah, that's what I'm. That's why I said it might be more. You also managed Vashawn Mitchell, Oscar Williams, Daryl Petty. That I didn't know you managed Daryl. I love me some Daryl Petty. Let's see, Terrell Hall, Sue Mama Sue, Roseberry,
Hmm.
and Darius Polk. Is it
Hmm.
anybody, Neely, that you always had a desire if they just would approach you, or you maybe haven't had the opportunity to reach out to them? That you like.
Woo! No one has ever asked me this question. A gospel artist? No, like, so here's the thing. There's probably a lot of people, honestly, if you just say that, because it's a lot of artists that I see, and I'm like, oh, that's dope. If you did this though, this could like take it over the top. And I don't think that it's just one person. You know what I mean? I can use his man as an example. If he ever hears this, he won't care. There's things about Kirk Franklin sometimes I'd be like, if he would just do this,
Yeah,
then it would just go over the top. Because I've done that with him before. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, but Yolanda, I'll call her and say, "Why don't you do so and so?" And she'll be like, "Okay," or she'll be like, "No, I'm not doing that." Like, that's the relationship. So I think for me, a lot of times it's really not somebody that I wish to work with, but when I see stuff, I'll be like, "Ooh, I wonder if they did this, how that would work." Because I think one of the good things about marketing is you don't always have to have the idea if you can help develop it. And I think that's the beauty of something. Now, you know who I want to work with? Now you said it. Do you know the hip hop artist One Day?
One day,
Uh-huh.
I'm not familiar with him.
It's a girl. She's
Okay, her,
so
okay.
dope. She's so dope. Like, I love her. And it's nothing that I have to do. I just want her to be bigger. She's just so dope to me. She's on tour right now with, I think, Corinne Hawthorne, Kiara Shear, and yeah, I think it's Corinne One Day.
Is this the young lady that did a song that Jacqueline Carr wrote for her?
No, that's the other one. The hip
Okay,
hop. That's the other one. I like her too.
okay,
Blanca. But
yeah,
I'm talking about Wanda. I'll send you her video later. But I
yeah.
would love to just be a part of her because I think she's so necessary for the genre, and she's so sweet and kind. And I just think I think she's really just like necessary for young people. Like, I think she has a heart for young people and a great message. She's dope.
You mentioned the fact of relationships, kind people. Yeah, I see the fan. Those adjectives. I mean, it's like they're being minimized in this industry as it seems to build from year to year. And to me, it's very important to have a great relationship with executives, artists, etc. I can call off the names. You mentioned Corinne Hawthorne, very sweet girl. I had a chance to talk to her. Artists like I also interviewed, and thank you for the connection with Jerry Mannery last week. Uh,
Hmm.
do you think that style of industry, what's the word, etiquette is kind of dwindling, so to speak?
I think people think that the internet is enough.
Yeah,
Like, if I post something online, they'll know. But the reality is they won't. If I don't call you, like you just said, you don't know who One Day is. So a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh well, he won't play it." Well, if you don't hear it, he won't.
yeah,
You can figure, and here's the reality of it. It doesn't mean that, it's like I used to say about people all the time when people would be like, "Oh, you probably won't service me with Kirk Franklin." I'll service anybody who tells me they have an audience with my music, but don't ask me for a box of CDs or for front row seats to the concert.
yeah,
Don't ask me for that, because that's not the audience that you're bringing. But if you want to come to the show, I might be able to help you if I'm in that place.
yeah.
So I think people just have to understand where they are so that they can continue to present in a way that will be that will be helpful for both parties. So, like me making sure that you're able to interview Jerry Mannery, me making sure that you're connected with people, some of your other people who you're working with are connecting you with our audience. We don't know how many people are going to see this interview. We don't know how many people that you might impact and be like, oh, Rodell said it. You know what I mean? Those kind of things are so important. And I think right now in the industry, I think people think that again, it's the drive through. I'm gonna get the drive through fame. And if you want to be famous, tell the Lord you want to be famous and make it quick for you. But I don't know anybody that he made it fast for. I don't know nobody. I don't know. When he told David he was gonna be king, he was 12.
Yeah, yeah.
When did that happen? When he was 35, he became
Right,
king. How
exactly.
many years? How many years?
Yeah,
When he told Abraham he was going to have a baby, 100 from
yeah,
50
yeah,
years. So it's like we just act like those are characters. If we believe it's Bible, they were people who was like going, wait a minute. That's why we got Ishmael, right? Because they was like, okay, this is what he meant. We got to help him with this process. Okay, God, we got you. Now we got a son. Nope, that's not what I said. So if you want to go through the process and you want to be a staple, because a lot of people put out songs and then they're gone. You know what I mean? So, and then people go, well, why are they still here? Because we have relationships with the people. And I do think words like kind and stuff. I don't think, now, bro, you know, I can go and I can be in your face sometimes. But even when I'm in your face, I still try to come back and go, we good though?
yeah, yeah,
Can we still go out to Starbucks? We cool. But I just need you to do what I need you to do. Please, sir, ma'am.
right, right.
Because I think we have to hold each other accountable. If your job is to be an on-air personality to play music that people are servicing you, so an audience can see it to help me get my audience, my artists heard, why are you not doing the job?
Yeah, yeah.
Why
No,
am I
that's
servicing you
a
my
good
music?
point. You do find that in industry, sometimes people feel as if they've got total control over something when it really is. I always like to approach it as, you know what, it's not even about you. It's about who you're ministering to, the people that needs to hear it. It's not even about you. You'll find that some people, or some MDs or PDs, they feel that the control is in their hand. Well, I'm not going to play it right now. I just don't feel it, even though the song is bumping everywhere else now, mind you, but you're not feeling it.
I don't understand it either.
Come
Um,
on, man. I mean, it's here
I've had
again.
program directors tell me, "Oh, this is a hit song." I'm like, "Oh, cool, you gonna play it?" "Oh no,
Oh,
oh,
really?
you're not gonna play it?" "No, yeah, no, it's got to prove itself." But
Wow.
can you help it prove itself? Because you've
Wow.
already said it's a hit.
You
You
see
you
what I'm saying?
said it is a hit. You said it out of your mouth. Yeah, but it's gotta get legs. Well, can you help it walk for me though? If it's gotta get legs, can you help the baby walk? Or
Can you
you're not
can you
gonna
help
help
me
it walk.
reach out and touch?
So it's cute. It's a different world. I get that. And that's why we started the Gospel Top 40 chart, because we didn't want it to just be something. I'm sorry, I almost knocked the computer down. We don't want it to be something where the charts now, I think there's no connectivity to the people who are reporting. It's like I'm just reading your signal, and if your signal is picking up, if you're playing the music, then that's what I'm going to record that you're playing. I don't have to talk to y'all. I don't have to do anything. So that's, again, a further disconnect.
Yeah,
With the Gospel Top 40, I have to email y'all at least once a month and say, hey guys, can you send me your reports?
yeah,
Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you're having a good month. There's connection there. There's like, oh, okay, I got to be accountable. I got to make sure that this information is going out. Oh, who is that artist? Like, I remember, for example, we have the single snippet section on the gospel chart.
mhm,
And I remember one of the programmers called me and said, I wasn't even playing that B. Chase Williams record, but the way Pam Dixon did that intro, I'm about to add it right now. I had about 3 people call me and tell me that. And I think maybe you even told me that. Like, you like the song, you love B. Chase, but I'm delayed on the record, and then all of a sudden you played it, and it makes an impact. So, and Chase was excited. So it's a thing where, see all those relationships.
mhm.
Pam Dixon introduced the Chase song. The people called Chase excited. You play, like, it's relationship, all
Yeah.
of that. So I think those things are important, and will keep the needle moving and keep us in the groove.
So, indie company, where do you see it going from here? Because I mean, you pretty much have covered, or have covered the gamut of,
Hmm.
of the industry at large? Where do you see yourself going with indie company?
Oh, I want to do so many more things. I have some shows that I've decked out and want to see if we can get some of those picked up for TV. Some faith based, some not. But just fun shows and fun TV, because I think one of the things that keeps us further connected is we don't have sit down time together.
Mhm.
And sit down time together used to be in front of the TV, like we used to watch games together. We used to have stuff like that. I remember just 10 years ago when Scandal was on,
Yeah.
there was like even on the websites, don't talk, Scandals on, don't talk
Right.
24.
Right.
It was like certain things, and people would be like, we having scandal parties, we're doing that. So now, because we can stream on our own, it further takes us away versus saying, hey, let's watch this together. So hopefully some of the things that I'm developing and have in my mind and in my heart to do will bring people back together, saying, ooh, let's listen together, let's watch this together, let's do this together.
And as a company, what would you like to see people like myself,
Mhm.
other personalities, other industry execs? What's your heart's desire as to what you'd like to see take place going forward?
I would like to see the cycle of the industry work again to keep us all gainfully funded. I would like to see when an artist puts out a record, when the label gives the artist the funds, or the artist decides to put out a record and work with whatever team, they put it out and the cycle starts. It goes to radio and or to whoever plays it, and then from there it goes to the consumers, however they buy it. Because some people still would go to a store. Some people would do that, and then it go from there to people doing ministry, to people ultimately talking about Jesus and people being saved.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I see us doing. Like, and again, all of us being gainfully funded with cheese,
yeah.
because I think one of the things that's powerful is when they put out a record and they have a team that helps them put it together. Everybody can should be able to eat, because it's
Wow,
important.
that's good stuff, man. Because that's really what needs to take place. Us, I guess as you said earlier, coming back together as a team and working together, because it does this digital world has kind of separated a lot of us.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, unfortunately, even before the digital world, we act like like the Bible said, God had a hill with one cattle. With
Mm,
one cow. Cattle is plural. That word is cattle. That's
mm,
plural. And it said he got hills just all over. So
mhm.
I'm just excited about my cattle on
Yeah,
my hill. And I'm gonna be like, Rodell, what your cattle's looking like over there? They gonna join up? You know what I mean? I just think we need to
yeah.
understand that he's not just blessing Rodell. He's not just blessing Neely. He's blessing a lot of people in the industry. There's a whole bunch of new things that have developed, and people are coming together and doing some great things. And I applaud them. I just wish that we can all figure out on some level how to do it together a little bit better.
Do you ever work? You have any future plans with working with Sunday's Best in the future?
You know what? I don't know if BET bring the show back, but if they do and they call me, guess what? I'm gonna answer the call.
Yeah. Okay, so
It
go
was
back.
fun. Sunday Best was fun. Just to interrupt, Sunday Best was an accidental growth that I wasn't expecting. I was called to do marketing and promotions only. So the
Mhm.
first year they did the show. The second year they did the show. Former boss of mine called me and said, "Hey, we got this show. Did you ever watch it?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Well, what'd you think about it?" I was like, "It's not great." And she was like, "Well, we need people to come out and audition." And I was like, "Okay, I got you." So she said, "I want you to do the marketing." So I did the marketing. I even think I came and interviewed with you. And
Yep.
I talked to a whole bunch of people about it. And they were like, we were in Atlanta, the first auditions we did. And they were like, well, how many people you think will show up for the auditions? I was like, probably about 2,000. They were like, nah, it's not going to be 2,000, whatever, maybe 500. People started showing up for those auditions that year on Wednesday.
Yeah.
They kept sending them home. It was 6,000 people at
Wow.
those auditions that weekend. And they were like, so then I developed their audition process, because we were in a meeting and they were like, I was like, can I ask you a question? I said, and it's no shots at anybody. I said, who's going to determine who goes through to the final sitting? And they were like, well, we have some executives. I said, no shot at none of y'all, but y'all don't know nothing about gospel music. And they were like, well, what do you suggest? I said, well, if you let me put these rooms together, well, we can make some fun stuff happen. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, let me put together a minister of music from the city that y'all don't know, but is famous in the gospel world, a radio personality, you don't know them either, but they're famous in the gospel world, and an artist. And they were like, well, what are we going to have to do? I said, if you can just feed them and pay for their parking, the saints will come. Because now they have a role in the show and they'll be committed to it and they'll talk about it on air, at church, and wherever they go. And it went from, okay, set up 3 rooms. Okay, can you set up 5 rooms? And it went from 5 rooms to we was in the halls just trying to, okay, sing, baby, just sing so we can see if you're gonna make it. So we went. So every year we did it, and it was like it gospel owned it. Like when you like Leandria's year, we were in New Orleans, and every room Leandria went into, people were texting each other, look for the girl with flip flops and socks. She bad. That became Leandria's banner. Flip flops and socks, baby. She coming through that room. She gonna kill that room, and
Yeah.
she did.
And to this day, she still is doing that.
Oh, she's still doing it. Sunday
Wow.
Best got it right. Sunday Best got it right on a whole bunch of artists. That David Mitchell, that David, what's the baby? Michael David. Ooh, the one that be doing the Velvet songs. Have you heard of Have you seen Michael David?
Michael David?
Michael David Wyatt.
I
David
don't.
Michael. He got 2 first names. I always confuse him. I'll send you. He does a lot of covers of old
Okay.
school. Ooh,
Okay.
Sunday Best, baby. We got it right.
Now the one that I speaking of covers that I think is doing a great job with too is Melvin Crispell the third.
Sunday
I
Best
think
got
I think he was a Sunday best too, wasn't he?
He was Sunday
Yeah,
Best.
I think he's
I,
doing a
I
great job.
begged, I begged Melvin to audition. I was like, if you just come audition, I promise you, please come. And he did. Melvin's amazing. Melvin's great. Like I don't think, like we had some really good artists come through there that are still the difference between I think Sunday Best and the other shows is that you still get an opportunity to go be a minister of music. You still can hold on to that banner because you can work at a church. You can do a whole bunch of different things than on the mainstream side. Maybe you can't do.
Right. Have you ever worked with? Speaking of mainstream, have you ever worked with PJ Morton?
No, I'm not going to tell my PJ story, but I think
Why
PJ
not? Come on, man. It's real
because
talk.
he doesn't like when I tell the story. But PJ is phenomenal. The thing I love about PJ
I
though
love PJ.
is he has learned how to straddle. But you can't straddle the fence, but he's learned how to do it. You
Yeah.
know, he's like the modern day Stevie Wonder. He's the only person who can like sing anything, and then he can come to church, and we'd be like, "Thank you, Jesus." Thank you, God. Hallelujah. Like he's the only one. Like everybody
I
else
love
will
it
be.
so, though. He's so versatile, you know?
But I think that's just who he's always been.
Yeah.
He's just been always that. Like even when he be in church, it got a little flair on it. You'd be like, oh, okay, you gonna do that? So I mean,
Yeah.
yes, he's Bishop Morton's son, but that's PJ. That's Bishop Morton's son. I mean, that's Bishop Morton. PJ is his. He's the star.
Right, right.
I appreciate it, but yeah, PJ is dope. He is dope.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, listen, I think we've covered everything unless you have anything you want to add.
Go check out the Gospel Top 40 chart. And then if you go to gospeltop40.com, you can scroll down and you'll see the in memoriam tribute. It's on the website.
Please watch that, everybody, because I promise you, you'll enjoy it. It was really heartwarming for me. You did an excellent job putting it together, Neely. You
Thank
and
you.
Brent there, I give you hats off for that because you really brought back some great memories of some people that we hadn't heard or seen of in a while, and now to know that they're being remembered in this way, I think is a great way to do it as well. Because a lot of times people do forget about you. It's it's like the saying, "Out of sight, out of mind."
Right.
That goes in any area of life. If you don't see you, they forget about you.
Right.
So thank you so much for reminding us of who we've lost and reminding us of those great memories of artists that have done such a great job. And to those that are still with us, that they'll continue the legacy and to do do a great job with holding up the blood-stained
The
banner.
blood stand. That's it. That's it. That's what we got to do. Hold it up. It's been my pleasure. I love you. I love being on your show. I'm glad you're still moving forward.
Oh
You
yeah.
are an icon in the radio industry. You have a voice that is perfect for radio, and we appreciate you so much.
Neily Dickerson, everybody. Thank you
Hi,
so much,
people.
Michelle.
All right.